Okay, guys, welcome everybody. So this is the pilot episode of the Yield Labs. Together, we got the two architects with one vision. AlphaYields meets More Markets. I'm Mark. I'm the communications lead at AlphaYields, and today I got, as I said, the two founders with me, Filipe, who built AlphaYields, and Patrick from More Markets. So two protocols that are more connected than most people in the space actually realize. Today, we're keeping it tight. We're going to keep it real. So let's just jump right into it. Starting with you, Filipe. Why don't you set the scene? So pretty much just what is AlphaYields and where are you right now? Not you specifically, but like where is AlphaYields right now?
Yeah, so I mean, if you guys are interested, I myself specifically, I'm at my restaurant today doing my fiat mining job. But other than that, let's talk about alpha yields for a little bit. So we're the next generation of liquid staking, pretty much. So we take any of your favorite tokens and we just get the best yield out of the entirety of the DeFi space and compound it into one single token. So we have our AI ML engine behind the scenes, which churns millions and millions of strategies at the same time, scopes the blockchain, the entire blockchains, and then makes a proper decision and builds the portfolio just on our risk assessment side. You deposit one token, receive another one, an AY token in return, and it just compounds the yield as much as it can, whilst being as risk free as possible.
Thank you. And same for you, Patrick. So what is More Markets and who is it actually for? I'm kind of wondering.
Yeah, so there's more markets and then there's more vaults. And more markets is a lending protocol on the Flow blockchain only. So it's for retail users on Flow for the most part. There are some institutional DeFi users that use it because there's some pretty interesting interest rates there. And then there's more vaults, which is the infrastructure that Filipe and AlphaYields are using to deploy their vault. It's been a long time in the making and there's nothing really that exists like it. This is very much for institutions or funds that want to curate private or public vaults, essentially asset management on chain. The unique feature of more vaults is that you can do omni-chain allocations in a non-custodial way. So most vault infrastructure, if you want to move between chains, requires the curator to take custody at some point. And with more vaults, that doesn't exist at all because everything's built on top of layer zero. There are a bunch of other advantages, but that's what makes it most unique.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay, so let's just get into how these two actually really connect because I think this is where it gets pretty interesting. So this is one for you, Filipe. So AlphaYields routes capital through More Markets as like part of the AYUSD vault stack. So could you walk me through what this actually looks like? Like what actually happens to a user's deposit?
So put really straightforward and simple. So user deposits their funds. It will then be deployed across all the strategies that previously our technology kind of like built on the portfolio, on the best strategy portfolio. So the capital just comes in, goes through layer zero if it needs to go, cross chain, and then gets deposited on the end chain. And then when the yield occurs, like when there's a withdrawal, just funds will come back to the hub chain and then get back to the user. That's pretty much the flow.
Okay, so like just to break it down, the user deposits under the hood. There's this whole architecture thing going on, but they just see yield. That's kind of like the point, right?
Yeah, so DeFi is really complicated and overwhelming for most people, and even the one even ones who understand how it works, it's kind of a hassle to make all of these transactions. And to be completely honest, most of our strategies are not, a human is not even capable of executing them because they kind of like have to be done in flash. So yeah, there's this whole technology behind the scenes that operates and uses the more vaults architecture in order to execute it.
Okay, gotcha. And then on that one, Patrick, so what does it look like from your guys' side, from More Market sides, when a protocol like AlphaYields builds on top of More Markets? What does that relationship actually require to work?
So Moore's agnostic to who is using it and how it's used. Is really like very generic infrastructure. So the whole idea behind it is to let anyone who wants to curate a strategy design and curate it with whatever technology they want in the background. And then what we've been working on is beyond the generic stuff is thinking about like what connectors we can build to specific protocols. Right now, the way that Filipe and AlphaYields is using it and everyone that we're talking to is as vault to vaults infrastructure. So more vaults is a vault and it can hold positions in other vaults and move assets around from chain to chain, protocol to protocol, and vault to vault. And so from our end, it very much looks like the way it looks like from your end, except at the technology stack level, it's just yeah, very generic infrastructure.
I want to talk about the modularity of more vaults as well. How does that actually change what a protocol like AlphaYields can do with the capital it routes through you guys? Because from the outside, like, and also for like just a layman like myself, modularity sounds like a technical detail. Is it really?
I guess it's kind of like what people expect these days. These vault products have to integrate and interact with a bunch of other protocols. And all of them generally do that. They just do it in different ways. The modularity in more vaults comes from two things. One is like routing capital to a particular location. And the other is interpreting what the value of that capital is in the underlying protocols it's using. So most vaults can do the allocation, no problem. It's not the hard part. The hard part, or let's say like the complicated part, is understanding how much that position is actually worth at a given point in time.
So Filipe, when you were evaluating where to route our capital, what made MoreMarkets the right fit? What were you actually looking for?
Well, first, a partner that we can trust, because again, building this kind of infrastructure is fairly expensive and new, to be honest. And from the time that we had with MoreMarkets, Patrick in specific, transparency and being very thoughtful about security on all security levels, it's very important for us. I mean, your funds have to be safe. That's the number one thing. So yeah, I guess that was the main reason why we actually went with more vaults, and you cannot really find this anywhere else.
Quite the marriage, huh? Well, last question already. I mean, and this is the one I actually really wanted to ask. So both of you have built something from scratch in a space where most things don't survive a bear market. What was the thing, let's call it the specific insight or frustration that made each of you say, this is exactly what I need to build and nothing else? What made you both focus on what you both are doing now? Let's start with you, Filipe.
I would say that's a whole semester of content, but I'll try to summarize it. I mean, we've made all sorts of mistakes in the beginning. We pivoted the narrative and trying to follow up actually the wave that is Web3, which changes like, as you change your clothes. It's like once, 2, 3 times a week. It's like a completely different setup and something new is happening. And all of a sudden everything gets hacked. So it's really not for the faint-hearted. I had a learning curve on about like 3 or 4 years just to understand DeFi and to navigate it and to not get scammed as much. And this started as a kind of a challenge with my younger brother. We just thought, well, heck, why don't we just make something for ourselves? We just hire a developer and we'll do something that is fair, sustainable to the future. And it started out like that. It's like all of our pain points came together. We wanted to, deploy a portfolio. By then we were doing it manually. And then I got like separated and then from that project and I met my co-founder, Bogdan, who's an engineer, an AI ML engineer for the past 14 years. And he was building this sort of technology that could automate all of this. And I said, well, this is like perfect fit, right? And that was pretty much it. That was the major reason why AlphaYields exists and why we want to, first, why we were so transparent about what we do. Everything that we do is actually pretty much available online, except for the core part of the technology, which is a bit sensitive. But other than that, all the decision making, why we make such processes are available for the public. And yeah, that was pretty much the reasoning why we started this.
Trial and error and trial by fire, I guess you could say. Patrick, what was your reason?
Mine's pretty simple. So I've been in crypto for quite a long time. And I've always had trouble managing my money across DeFi just because it's so fickle and things change quite often. And it really requires you to be really attentive about your portfolio. And when you're working and doing other things, and you're not in front of your computer all the time, it's a bit difficult to kind of follow everything. And so I was like, I want to build a technology where someone who's better at this stuff can do it for me. And in a lot of ways, AYUSD is kind of the culmination of that for me anyways. It's like where I would like to park my stable coins to generate yield. But it goes beyond that. Like if you want long BTC exposure or long ETH exposure or pretty much any token, the idea behind it is like hold the yield bearing version of that token and have that yield, one, be sustainable, and two, be transparent. And I think that we're really the only protocol, I think, that, checks all the boxes for what I'm looking for. And it's because like there's a whole team behind it and they're a wonderful team and really, really smart. But yeah, I feel like we're getting to the point, rather than thinking about where to put your money, you can put it in a single place and it's diversified enough and it interacts with everywhere it needs to interact to derive yield. So you just think about which AY token you want to hold, if it's an AY token.
I guess it was destiny in some way. You guys were bound to meet, huh? And so when's the wedding, though? I'm just kidding. Just thank you so much, both of you, for coming here for this quick chat. Before we go, I want to flag something we have coming here at AlphaYields. So we're launching the Yield Rush campaign, which is the incentives campaign, alongside with the public opening of AYUSD. 90 days, depositors earn points daily based on the deposit size. We draw 5 winners every week. We have a 2-tier referral system on top. You refer someone, you earn 20%. They refer someone, you earn 8% on their referral as well. So our prize pool comes entirely from the protocol performance fees. So we are not gaining on emissions, inflation, all that boring stuff. We're real yield backing real rewards. And to anyone watching this who manages like a DAO treasury or is allocating capital on behalf of an institution, just stop what you're doing. Reach out to me, to Filipe, to Patrick, whether it's AYUSD, MoreMarkets, or just a conversation about what idle capital could be doing. We're all accessible. Thank you so much for your time. This is the Yield Lab, and I'll see you on the next one.